All right. We have returned, ladies and gentlemen. And this week on the podcast, we'll be discussing Donald Trump saying that he's going to declare a national emergency at the border. We'll be talking about Ilhan Omar in the Senate and posing a challenge to you in the chat when we do. And then finally, we're going to do something we haven't done in a little bit, a philosophical discussion, where we'll be talking about capitalism and why it's stupid to want to eat the rich. My name is Micah Curtis.
And I'm Alex Baldwin, and I am not hungry at all.
And welcome to Micah and The Hatman on Politics Live. And then one of the first questions that I see out of the chat is, am I still dying? I was not dying in the first place. I am okay. I'm still a little under the weather. I've been having a lot of headaches lately. I think it's just because the weather keeps changing, because it's Illinois and the weather is always constantly changing. So I am I'm pretty tired. I'm a little sore, a little headachy, but I'm here regardless because that's the job and people enjoy this podcast, so I want to be here for it. So, and we continue to slowly increase in subscribers. And of course, my main channel recently hit 18,000 subscribers. So thank all of you, or thank you all for, for being a part of my life in this way. I greatly appreciate it. Let me move my microphone a little bit closer to my head here. So let's go ahead and get into the first topic of the day, the border emergency. So Donald Trump is set to sign a funding bill for the government to keep it out of shutdown again, and it has even less money for border wall security than the last one did. Meaning, yes, he held out for less money. Mm-hmm. So that's colossally embarrassing.
Yep.
And then beyond that, he has said that, well, since you didn't give me the wall funding, I'm just going to declare a national emergency, divert funds from other areas, and just build it myself.
Exactly what we said not to do.
Yeah. I was hoping that Trump would not cave like this, because he did. Let's be honest, he caved here. Mm-hmm. Not cave like this, throw him into another shutdown, another series of negotiations, and say, and then when they start, and then instead this time let the Democrats own it.
Mm-hmm. But no, this is a cave. This is what a cave looks like.
So what does this do? Well, I will say this. The diversion of funds, what he is diverting it from, a lot of which is on drug enforcement, makes sense. Mm-hmm. Because we overspend on that anyway.
Yep. Pentagon, drug prevention programs, and military construction is specifically where it's coming from.
Yes. And all things considered, this is a move that is not going to see your taxes increase.
No.
Which, again, is good. So there's pros and cons to this, and let's get through the pros. And the other pro is that we are going to get the border security that we need. Again, all of these things are good. I think that you and I have been, we've been wall supporters from the get-go. Patriot bricks.
Patriot brick. Hashtag Patriot bricks.
Come on, folks. Like, he could have done that from the get-go.
Still should have done that, damn it.
Whoa, Servant of God 777 donates $10. Let's see what our friend has to say. Here's some money. Get fish oil. Helps you with my head. Maybe it will help you. P.S. I live in Minnesota. I understand changing weather. Oh, you guys getting it worse than I do. But I will do that. I'm actually out of fish oil pills, believe it or not. I use them in a different dietary supplement on a regular basis. So thank you. I will definitely do that. Because, yeah, my big problem is blood pressure. And thankfully, since I have started losing weight, the headaches that I get don't come as often as they do. It used to be that I would get them like 4 days out of 7 in every week. Now it's like maybe once a week. Mm-hmm. So, but anyway, back on the topic. Mm-hmm. So if nothing else is being done wisely, if you're going to do it, but the problem is doing it in the first place. Mm-hmm. Now, the fault lies in several different areas. It's not just Trump. So let's be honest about that. I think that Republicans as a whole fell into the same trap that we always do whenever we hold governmental power. We get way too comfortable. The fight's over. We decide to take a glass of wine and have some rest. No.
Nope, don't get complacent, Dan.
No, you cannot. This is a job. You cannot get complacent. You were hired for a specific purpose. You have to get that job done. You can rest afterwards.
And it's like we said, what was it, last week even?
Yeah.
What the fuck did they get done except for tax reform?
Yeah, that's the only thing that they got 100% done.
Didn't repeal and replace Obamacare.
Not completely.
That fell through.
Yeah.
Wall hadn't gotten funds for the wall. And tax reform, fucking God, how long did that take?
I don't remember that one. The debate on that one was not that long. It just took them a while to propose the bill.
Yeah, but still, like they should have had that stuff in the pipeline. Is what I'm saying. Like
yeah.
Even with the healthcare thing, they were talking about it while Obama was still in office.
Yeah, the fact that they didn't have anything drafted back then.
Yeah.
It still surprises me.
Yeah, I mean, you have control of all three branches of government, and you're telling me that you can't get shit done. That's preposterous. It's preposterous.
Yeah. Completely preposterous. So the Senate holds a lot of responsibility here. For sure, for absolute frickin' certain. Like Hatman and I called it, in fact I think we said this on the election night special, is that if we lose the House, we're not going to get funds for the wall through Congress. It's just not going to happen. Because and a lot of people didn't understand it, and I had to explain. It's like they hold the power of the purse, meaning any and all funding decisions, how much funds a branch gets is decided by them. So, but on top of that, I think that Donald Trump is good enough at negotiating and good enough at public relations to where he could have gotten the House to cave. I do really believe that. What I would have done if I were Donald Trump is I would go even more on that. Is I would do a speaking tour of all the southern states that border Mexico. And have people go on stage and talk about these things, kind of like Obama did with Obamacare. And drill it into people. Yeah.
The people who it's going to affect the most.
Yeah, because here's the thing. And Reagan had done this too. And Bush did it during presidents do this all the time. When they have a policy that they want to push, they basically portray it as something that is a huge deal, which they should. Because if they believe it, I would imagine that they would stand behind it. You want to bring up people that can tell stories that get people to understand exactly how dire the situation can be. So that's what I would have done were I in Donald Trump's shoes. But I'm obviously not. I'm just a dude. So now what is the question? Like we mentioned, wall's going to get built. We're getting our wall. Promise fulfilled. It's a true statement. Two things can be true at the same time. This does set a very bad precedent.
Very, very bad. And I understand, I've seen it on Twitter all the time, people saying, well, Obama declared national emergencies for lesser shit.
Yeah, it was wrong then, too.
Yeah, it was wrong. There's no reason to use that. And Trump even was a prime critic of using the power of the pen. And it's no, two wrongs do not make a right in this situation. And yes, you've already got, Democrats now saying, well, we can declare a national emergency for climate change or gun control.
Yep.
Or anything like that. You could declare a national emergency to get the damn Green New Deal thing through. The whole point of it is about subverting Congress.
Yes.
And Trump in this announcement said, quote, "I didn't need to do this. I just want to do it faster."
Yeah. And that's pretty much it.
That's, right there in front of everyone. Like, if the executive branch has this much power to basically negate what Congress just spent about 3 weeks fighting over, what the fuck is the point of the legislative branch?
Yeah. Now here's the thing. This is going to get challenged in court.
Naturally, it will. Yeah, California's already said they're gonna take him to court.
So did the ACLU. Yeah.
And Trump's expecting it to go to the Supreme Court and get approved, basically.
And I don't actually think that it will. I don't think that
it will either.
I don't know if Gorsuch and Kavanaugh will go for it.
I don't think they will either. They're originalists.
Yeah, both men have, especially Gorsuch, have been on record as talking about limited government.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like I've said before, if Trump had, if after this he signed another final declaration saying that a president can't ever do something like this ever again, master troll.
Yeah.
That would be beautiful. That'd be amazing. It would probably be one of the coolest moments ever. Yeah. Because that's ultimately how you should do it. Is understand it's like, I just pulled out a button for something rather large, and if somebody else does it again, they can do it in the other direction. It can really hurt a lot of people. So let's just get rid of it. But I don't expect that to happen.
I mean, this is the point of where we're at right now, that Congress is so inherently gridlocked that Trump feels like he has to do this in order to get shit done. But at the same time, it's like the same problem that we had with Obama. Congress was trying to block what he was trying to put forward, and he fucking does it anyway. DACA, prime example, fucking DACA. And now the Democrats have been running on that ever since. I mean, what is the point behind all of this? To break two branches of government? I don't get it.
I don't either.
I really don't. I still say Patriot bricks.
Yep.
Should have done that.
Right out of the gate. All right. Let's move on to our next topic. So I have a question for everyone. Ilhan Omar in the House of Representatives is the same as Richard Spencer in the House of Representatives. Changed my mind.
Got it. Richard Spencer can go to a fucking barbecue luncheon.
Yes, Richard Spencer is capable of eating bacon. That is true. Hatman found the way. So there's a button. It's a button that quite a few people like.
I like it too.
That I think that Ilhan Omar really deserves. And it's not exterminatus! Sorry. But no, Ilhan Omar hates the Jewish people.
Yes. Yes.
And she very much hates it. Hates them. She went so far as to say, to lo and behold, say people thought I was going to actually do exterminatus. Really? Come on. But anyway, this week she said she had stated some crazy anti-Semitic shit, basically saying that our support for Israel was buying us off.
Mm-hmm.
Which, lady, Israel ain't that wealthy. But
No.
Jew! That's her whole logic.
I love that button so much.
So do I. My favorite Jew button moment was when I was doing my live review of Black Panther, and I accidentally hit it.
Oh my fucking god!
But
the Jew exterminatus one was also a really good one.
The big Jewish exterminatus. It really wasn't proper though. If I was going to combine the buttons, I would put giant beards on all the ships and yarmulkes.
Oh my fucking god!
But no, in all seriousness though, she has largely been insane ever since coming on here, and she's been one of the many topics lately of the idea that the Democrats are starting to become the party of anti-Semites. Mm-hmm. You have Omar, you have Keith Ellison and others who are massive anti-Semites. You have people paying lip service to Louis Farrakhan. Of course, you have the
previous support for the Women's March.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Yeah, and their promotions as well. Though, admittedly, Democrat leadership is not happy, from what I've noticed. Pelosi's pissed. A lot of other incumbents.
Pelosi demanded an apology.
Yes,
that was shocking.
And notice how she was not at all saying anything against what Pence and Trump have said, is that she should either resign or leave the Foreign Affairs Committee.
Nope.
Pelosi didn't say anything opposite. To be honest, now she didn't say she was for it either, but because she's not going to have one of her own number and then a special election happen where they could lose. Mm-hmm. She's not going to risk that. But
especially one that's considered a rising star in the Democratic Party.
Exactly. The real kicker is that I think that Pelosi, behind closed doors, agrees with Trump. And as Ben Shapiro likes to call them, the fresh faces of the Democratic Party, so fresh, so face, is she is one of them. And one thing that we are noticing is that there's a lot, of course, there's a lot of hatred for the nation of Israel, not because of like criticism of the Israeli government, which there is some that is warranted because there is corruption within the Israeli government, a lot of favors that get made quite often.
Corruption. Corruption in every government. Let's be real.
It's no different than the nepotism you'll see in any other government.
Right.
But such criticisms are fair. She thinks that Israel should not exist.
Yeah. There's a difference between the government of Israel is corrupt and Israel is an apartheid state.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically what she's leaning into. It's an illegal occupation and an apartheid state.
And let's be honest, and she's a consistent supporter of Palestine. And here's the thing, the whole she's a full-on supporter of the whole from the river to the sea thing, which is the extinguishment of every Jewish life from one end to the other. I am mortified by the fact that the Democrats will not take action against this woman. Because here's the thing. Let's actually say that Richard Spencer had actually managed to become a representative in the House in like Montana or something. He would have been censured and thrown out the instant he said things like she said.
Well, we actually have an example to draw from. Steve King.
Yes. There are people all over the place talking about primarying him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably going to happen.
Yeah, probably so. But Republicans took it upon themselves to hit back against him and to say, no, that is absolutely unacceptable. And Democrats are just apologize and that's okay. No, Steve King was stripped of all his congressional appointments.
Mm-hmm.
So
he gets a vote, and that's about it.
Mm-hmm. But no, it's okay. Anti-Semitism is okay as long as it's coming from a Muslim for some reason. I don't understand why. Probably something to do with progressive stack, oppression Olympics, whatever the fuck you want to call it. But that is
bullshit.
Absolute bullshit. Fuck them.
Fuck them.
Fuck them.
This sort of thing has honestly no business in America, in my opinion.
No, absolutely not.
But and this is part of the thing that I reject these oppression Olympics, the progressive stack, whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Identity politics.
Identity politics, because evil is evil.
Yeah.
Evil is evil is evil is evil. It doesn't change whether you're rich or poor. It doesn't change no matter what skin color you are. If you just hate someone because they're different than you, fuck you. You're a cunt.
Pretty cleanly, yeah.
Yeah,
Fuck you.
You're a cunt. You've always been a cunt. You probably always will be a cunt until you get over being a cunt.
If.
And this lady's no different. I'm out of words.
I am too, so I will default to what Ricky Hoya said in the chat. I laughed when people wished Omar Mazel Tov on the anniversary of the marriage to her brother.
Wait, what?
Apparently, she married her brother.
What?
To get citizenship.
What?
I'm not joking. I'm not joking.
So is she like the Allahu Akbar Lannister? Like, what the fuck? How is that legal?
I don't fucking know.
I didn't know that they had Muslims in Arkansas.
I always thought it was West Virginia's thing. But...
I'm just kidding, folks. I love Arkansas, but Jesus Christ. But this is the thing, and I think this is an interesting thing to post to moderates, is that for a long time people on the right have been saying that Islam is not a tolerant religion, it is not the religion of peace, it is a religion of division and death. All who do not conform must die, is the Quran in a nutshell. It is not a beautiful piece of poetry. They want to fucking kill you in certain parts of the world. And if not, they'll try to destroy you in other means. With her, it's through PR. The important thing to do is to look at this and see what is actually out there. Are there moderate Muslims that exist? Absolutely. The guy who taught me everything I know about business was Muslim, but he barely practiced. And oftentimes the most sensible people who are Muslims I ever meet barely practice. But those who seem to adhere this closely to the faith are almost always bigots, almost always supporters of murderous regimes and terrorist groups. If you are in her district, do not vote for her. And tell people about how evil she fucking is. Don't let it rest. Good gravy.
Out of words again.
Yeah, this is so strange that we have this type of a person in Congress. I don't get it.
I don't either.
I blame women.
You're supposed to respect them.
Nope. Incapable of doing so. And we are going to continue to be incapable of doing so because we're going to make fun of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and her bullshit ideas.
Oh boy. That's my favorite pastime.
Socialism.
Socialism.
So...
I don't like socialism.
Me neither. Yeah. Oh, socialism is pretty terrible. I'm not big in the whole starving thing. Couldn't really do that whole thing. Then there's the gulags. Those aren't very fun. So, let's talk about the recent attitudes that we are seeing because of the Young Turks candidate, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Which, by the way, yes, she is a Young Turks candidate. Mm-hmm. She was a fan of the Young Turks for years. When Cenk and Kyle Kulinski started the Justice Democrats, she was one of the first people to sign up. And she's the only one, to my knowledge, who actually made it into public office on a national level. And she is now easily one of the single dumbest Congress people that has ever lived. There are Democrats who are constantly chastising her for her lack of knowledge about economics.
I mean,
Go ahead.
Just us. We basically stopped making fun of Bernie Sanders for her.
Yeah.
She took that crown.
Bernie at least could stick to a narrative that could make him more palatable to people. I think the fact that a sensible person like Tim Pool still liking Bernie Sanders tells you something, of how he can still be palatable. Ocasio-Cortez cannot be, because you can clearly see she has no fucking clue what she's talking about. You know, we talked about the Green New Deal last week, about how fucking preposterous it was and how it would destroy entire industries and literally would do nothing about climate change. Plus, would guarantee financial security for those who are unwilling to work. Meaning you could sit on your fat ass and play WoW all day and have a financial secure future without being a streamer.
Mm-hmm.
That, to me, is bullshit.
Yep. This is what income inequality is all about. The idea that some people make more money than others.
Yes.
That isn't fair.
But here's the thing. It is fair. It's about as fair as you're going to get. And here's the reason why. Is that everything that we do to make money is trading in some sort of good or some sort of a service. Mm-hmm. Every single thing we do here in America, unless you're in government. as such, everybody to a degree or another largely earns what they have, unless you are just some punk kid who his dad is paying for everything and you're a spoiled brat. But that amount of people is very minimal.
Mm-hmm.
It's largely a trope on television.
Pretty much, yeah.
And what I find absolutely infuriating about this is and I thought that Naked Ape made this point in a video of his, like, I think a couple of years ago when he was talking about Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders, is that the ideas that are perpetuated by these folks are not about helping poor people. Because by and large, America does not have a poverty problem in comparison to other nations. We have a personal responsibility problem. We have a problem of finding meaning. But we certainly do not have a poverty problem, like some would like to suggest. We are almost at full employment, statistically speaking.
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time we were almost at full employment. It's crazy to think about. But here's the thing. We believe that all men are created equal, meaning that we all have the same rights. They are God-given and should be protected by government.
Right.
Not all men are equal. Or women.
No.
And you never will be.
Something natural.
Everybody's different.
Yeah.
Everyone has different skills. Everyone has different talents. Everyone has different levels of drive and dedication.
Even when it comes to the physical, I mean, my eyes are not equal to some other people's.
Yes, neither are mine. That's why I wear contact lenses.
Yeah. I will never be able to fly a jet in the Air Force because of these.
Yeah, same here.
I mean, should I demand it? Should I say I demand equality?
Yeah. We will never obtain true equality, ever. Because, and I thought that Orwell's Animal Farm illustrated this very well. And it largely illustrates the attitude of the socialist. Because it was a criticism of the Soviet Union. It is... The big passage from that is that all pigs are equal, or all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others.
Mm-hmm.
And that there is a ruling class. Now, here in the United States, the ruling class at least has a reliance upon lower classes of worker to make them money and to keep them afloat. Which is why job relations and basically boss-employee relations are so important, and to make sure that your workers have what they are looking for in a competing market. With socialism, you eliminate that, where the only people who have power are the ones in the government, and they don't answer to anyone. Like, we saw that in the Soviet Union, we saw that in China, we still see it in China, saw it in Vietnam, still see it in North Korea. Saw it in Cambodia. And then we see how it ends. But
there's no way for the people to own the means of production without there being a government nationalizing it.
Yeah, exactly.
And when that happens, the government literally owns the people.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, just the idea of, and this is going from socialism into the Marxist elements of it, from each according to his ability to each according to his need. How do you enforce that?
Gun.
By force. I mean, that's essentially an argument for slavery.
Mm-hmm. Because it's basically what the Russian people were.
Yeah.
In the USSR, they were slaves.
Everyone's equal when you're all starving to death.
Exactly. That's what North Korea is like.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Christopher Hitchens is the only journalist who ever went to all three nations of the axis of evil during the Bush era. And he described North Korea as literally like living in Orwell's 1984.
Mm-hmm. You eat grass and kimchi. That's basically your diet.
Mm-hmm. Now, one reason that I think that she has success in this among her base is the eat the rich mentality.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you listen to someone like the Amazing Atheist, who is stupid. We all know that. He'll call rich people the controllers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, which I'm pretty sure was language used in Der Stürmer about Jewish people. But it's basically the same psychological tactic. We talked about this with Aiden over a year ago. It's othering. Portraying someone as the other, the enemy.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing. Whether people admit it or not, we all want to be rich. Or richer than we are right now.
Yeah.
I want to be wealthy.
I would love to be. That's an element of security.
Yeah. Like, instead of 3 of these suits I wear, how about 30 of them?
Yeah.
Different colors and different shades, and so I can have variety. All super comfortable.
Think about it from a Forrest Gump perspective. You know, they said I'm a multi-millionaire now. I said, you never have to worry about money anymore. I said, that's good. That's one less thing.
Yeah.
One less thing to fucking worry about.
I would love to do that. Yeah. I would love to not have to worry about money.
Yeah.
I'd love the idea of, going to work every day or every day of the week, not on the weekend, but going to work every day and, make it knowing that work that I put in, I'm going to have food on the table, I'm going to have a roof over my head, and I'm going to be able to invest, I'm going to be able to do stuff with that money.
Yeah.
And provide security. And if I ever have a family, for them too as well.
But that's the thing. You have to work for it. You have to earn it.
Mm-hmm.
If a man does not work, then neither shall he eat.
Is a man not entitled to the sweat from his brow? Played a bit of Bioshock last night.
Andrew Ryan 2020.
Yes. Nah, he banned golf clubs. But in all seriousness, this attitude of eat the rich is very, as Howard Schultz called it, is very anti-American.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people who are millionaires, who become millionaires, self-made.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, most of them will say the exact same thing. How do you become a millionaire? Self-discipline and hard work.
Yep.
But it is this attitude that they're going to strap the rich folks to hamster wheels and have them produce, and that's going to pay for everything, just isn't realistic. Because you can't force them to not move. Andrew Cuomo even said, God forbid that the rich ever leave New York. And they're starting to.
Mm-hmm.
They're starting to. They're starting to move to Florida. They're starting to move to Texas. They
started to leave California years ago.
Yeah.
So
we're going to see it happen. And they're going to move to different states. And those states are going to flourish. Like Ocasio-Cortez pulled one of the dumbest moves that I've seen a Senate person do in a long time, or a Congressperson do in a long time, and that was basically she succeeding in Amazon not coming to New York. Dummy, how is that a success? It's the biggest company in the world right now, and you didn't want them there? That's jobs for New Yorkers in your fucking district.
Evil corporate overlords. They're going to buy the police department like OCP.
Ay caramba.
I mean, it's this idea of wealth. I think that's a driving factor behind this whole eat the rich mentality.
Yeah, it basically is finding someone to hate, so people and banding and getting people together that all hate them, so that you can lead them and then gain power and then become rich yourself. It's a Ponzi scheme.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's all socialism ever has been.
Yeah. I mean, you cannot say that it is unethical to be a billionaire or a millionaire even.
Or that it's a policy failure. It absolutely is not.
It's not. You cannot tell somebody that they do not deserve to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically what you're saying.
Even modern millionaires who inherited their wealth still took it leagues beyond in the current generation. Good examples, oddly enough, Donald Trump and Vincent Kennedy McMahon. Damn it!
Mm-hmm.
Vince McMahon took his father's business and made it even bigger. Trump did the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And they have supplied... I mean, McMahon himself has made millionaires upon millionaires. There's no Hulk Hogan without Vincent Kennedy McMahon. There's no Stone Cold Steve Austin. There's no Dwayne The Rock Johnson. You know, among the other millionaires that have come through professional wrestling. Same through with Donald Trump. All the millionaires he's made through real estate. And the other things that he's promoted. Combat sports being one of them. So, when it comes right down to it, we all work for billionaires and millionaires. I do.
Yeah.
I'm perfectly fine with it. Because he makes me rich. Meaning he gives me security. A pretty kick-ass little apartment. Which is what I need right now. I'm well taken care of for what I give to my boss. I think that most people across the country would tell you the exact same thing. And this attitude that if we suddenly were to get rid of this policy and idea of not equality, equity, let's call it what it is ridiculous because it will never happen.
Yeah. Because
there's a lot of people in the world who are not equal to one another. And ultimately, some people are going to be more successful than others. Mm-hmm. But this, all this is giving in to the sin of envy. And it never gets you anywhere. Mm-hmm. Ever. Hate is like drinking poison and expecting the other guy to die.
Yep.
It's not going to happen.
And even the core philosophy behind it, the redistribution, it encourages laziness.
It does.
Who wants to work if you know that the fruits of your labor are going to be taken from you and given to someone else who did not put in the time or the effort?
Yeah, it's easier just to leech off the guy who is actually willing to put in that work.
Exactly. How is that justice?
It's not.
And it never will be.
No. Unless you want to work in government and make money off of stealing from everyone else.
Well,
which is Ortez or Ocasio in a nutshell.
Mm-hmm. Stick with giving your boyfriend congressional emails.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, let's go ahead and get to the Q&A.
Q&A time.
Hatman will look at the Twitter, and I will look at the...
Twitter and an email.
Yeah, I don't see anything on the Discord server from before the podcast starting, so what do we got on the Twitter and the email?
All right. Yeah, let's go email first. As a reminder, again, if you think you've been shadow banned on Twitter or you're not doing the hashtag right or whatever, hashtag Micah Q and A-N-D, not ampersand, and A. That's the Twitter hashtag, Micah Q. If you don't think you're going to get through there or whatever, email me, alex@hatman.net. Short, sweet, to the point. I always get them. Anyway, from our weeb friend Chris, of course, who loves Yub Nub and pineapple on pizza.
That's terrible.
In before Exterminatus. But he does own For Honor now, thanks to you.
Oh, then no Exterminatus then.
You liked it enough that you got the Marching Fire expansion because the arcade mode seemed pretty cool. So, question.
And it is pretty fun.
For a newcomer, what should I focus on? I've taken a shining to the Warden because Vihanders and such.
That's an entertainment question.
That is it?
Yes.
Yes, it is. That is an entertainment question. Okay, never mind. We don't do emails anyway. So, because the second one was also entertainment, so never mind. Wow, I am all kinds of confused.
It's been one of those weeks for both of us.
Yeah. We want to talk about nice things, fun things.
Entertainment's going to be a fun podcast this week.
Yes, it will be. So, What is Yubnub waistcoat stat?
It's better that you don't know. Anyway, what's the questions from Twitter?
Anyway, okay, questions from Twitter. Yes, we do have these. Duke of Tumwater wants to know, what do you think is the most likely option for the hypothetical 28th Amendment? Term limits. Congressional term limits.
I would think congressional term limits.
That is the only thing that I can even think that would come close to passing.
Yeah, I'm in agreement there.
All right. And from our Dank Horse Elric, a theological question for you, Micah.
Ooh.
You said you disagree with fundamentalism, but you've also said that the Word of God is eternal and shouldn't change with society.
Mm-hmm.
Aren't these two positions contradictory? If you're not a fundie, then by definition you are following a version of the faith that has been shaped and altered by society.
Not really. The principles of Christianity are static, and have been static from the beginning. One thing that has changed as time has gone on, because the words within the scripture are exactly the same as they've always been. You know, they have not been changed at all. What has changed is our interpretation of it, and our understanding of it, I should say. And one thing that you'll see when you look through, like, the corruption of the early Catholic Church, and things along those lines, and then you look at the Bible itself, you'll see the obvious contradictions between the two. You know, that's what caused Martin Luther to do what he did. And then, of course, you can see, part of what Dietrich Bonhoeffer was doing in his time was a reaction to the Catholic Church in some areas basically giving Hitler a free pass. You know, things along those lines. They followed the word to the letter until Martin Luther went senile. But the word and what it means and the message has always been the same. You know, does that make me a fundamentalist? Not really, because fundamentalists take everything that is in the Bible, the stories and the parables, literally. And it's not all literal. Like, the world was not created in 6 days. We know that it wasn't. But what is a day to a deity? To an almighty deity? You know, stuff like that. So no, I don't think that the two are contradictory.
Fair enough. All right. On to the chat, I suppose.
Yes. I'm going to actually turn off my light here because it's making my headache worse.
Go for it. Koopa's Revenge Home. Can we boot California out of the Union and build a wall around it?
Like Escape from New York?
Yep. Somebody's been watching The Overflow.
Yes, indeed. Sometimes, man, I would not be against it.
Yeah. Let's see. Crystal Wing wants to know our thoughts on Brexit and how the MPs are set to stupid themselves into the best outcome for the citizenry and the worst for them.
I haven't really been following that much with Brexit lately. We're going to need some specifics on that.
As far as I know, Theresa May is, like, losing all of her fucking votes.
Well, yeah, she couldn't cock it up any worse than if she tried.
Yeah. See, that's a prime example of fucking the dog, as it were. Sometimes you screw the pooch, but when you really, really screw up, you fuck the dog.
Shane Boatwright just donated $5. Says, some have begun to believe that Ocasio-Cortez is actually a plant by another faction in the deep state that opposes the Democratic Party. Thoughts? Nope, she legitimately believes what she does.
Yeah.
She's a true believer.
She is a year older than me. People my age
generally don't understand economics.
So, yeah. Not that far off.
Oh, goodness. What else we got?
Can we explain our views on evolution from V-Raptor? Someone else has been watching The Overflow.
Oh, yeah. I tend to fall in line with Francis Collins on that one. Basic idea is that a lot of what Darwin proposed in the Origin of Species is accurate, but there are some criticisms of evolution that are also valid. Specifically one that Collins brings up that basically that nature does not leap. That's a direct quote from Dawkins, or not from Dawkins. It's a direct quote from Darwin that Dawkins agrees with, but does not explain the Cambrian explosion. So that's my general thoughts on it, is that it is very much a part of how nature works, but we don't understand it completely. And it does not contradict the idea of God existing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the only thing that would really be contradictory is if you are going with the young Earth creationism. Again, like we said on the Overflow.
Neither of us are.
Yeah, no, that's going much too far and trying to make lots of excuses for years, centuries even, of scientific discoveries and advancement.
Mm-hmm.
Occam's razor, keep the explanation simple. Evolution and intelligent design, as it were, are not incompatible.
No. Red Dragon asks, what do we think of the political turmoil that's happening over in France with the Yellow Jackets? Another thing I haven't really updated on in a while. Hatman, you watch foreign affairs more than I do. What's been going on?
I honestly can't tell you. That is also something that I haven't really been keeping up with, to be honest. I don't think it's an Antifa cell anymore. I think there were some people that were trying to make it that way, but no, I do think this is like a people's revolt.
Oh, that felt good.
I heard that.
Oh my god, I needed that so badly.
Okay, so Shane Boatwright has a clarification. Not that Ocasio-Cortez believes in it, but that she's an unaware part of it, as in.
Okay, so she's kind of being bandied about.
Hmm.
I do think that she's emblematic of the fact that Democrats are having a very hard time aligning on party lines.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's one thing that I think that socialism among Democrat circles about 8 years ago was sort of like Molly's at a party. It's kind of the thing you do once and you try to forget that you ever tried it.
Mm-hmm. You
know, you're just kind of dancing with it. These are like full-blown coke addicts who are coming in and being like, cocaine's fucking great. You know, that's sort of what we're dealing with here.
Cocaine bear. One day I will tell the full story of Cocaine Bear on this show. That is one of my favorite fucking stories ever.
I just love the meme of the bear in snow, like covered in like, I fucking love cocaine.
Okay, so preview for the Cocaine Bear story. Legit, there was a bear that ate like several hundred pounds of cocaine and died from it.
Dear God.
And
I didn't know that Al Pacino had a bear sibling.
His corpse was taxidermied, and people spent years trying to track it down because it had just gone on a wild fucking adventure of its own. But again, a story for another time.
Coming to theaters in 2020, the Cocaine Bear's Wild Adventure starring Micah and The Hatman. We should kickstart it.
Fear and Loathing with Cocaine Bear.
Oh, that'd be wonderful.
Oh yeah, Cocaine Bear's great. Okay, here's a good one. Thoughts on Andrew McCabe being implicated in a coup attempt from Chris Jones?
Oh yeah, they were wanting to, or there were rumors that McCabe was planning to invoke the 25th Amendment to try and oust Trump, saying that he was unfit for office. But the problem is that amendment only exists if you're like literally physically incapable of doing your job. So, yeah.
Yeah, McCabe fucking
he's gonna get fired. Trump will likely fire him because that's fucked up. But it does confirm that Trump does have a lot of enemies in the state itself. And they liked the way and the power that they had under Obama. They don't like any threat to that. Trump is a threat to that. So
McCabe got fired, though, didn't he?
Did he? I don't know if he had yet or not.
Sessions fired him.
Oh, you're right. He did. So, but it wouldn't surprise me then if that was the reason why.
Well, yeah, I mean, Comey, McCabe, shit, who's the other one?
Yeah, a lot of these guys were trying to undermine their own fucking boss.
Yeah.
And I'm like, do you have any idea that you just put national security at risk?
Mm-hmm.
Over a fucking grudge? What the hell is your problem?
Yeah, that is a coup attempt.
Like, beyond all else, like, that is just a severe lack of professionalism. Just in the attitude itself. Like, let's not even talk about, like, the 25th Amendment stuff. Just the idea of opposing your boss, who is the head of national security. Instead of doing your job and making sure that citizens are still protected, you're worried about ousting him? What the fuck is wrong with you? He's not going to be there forever. Criminy. All right, let's take one more before we go.
All right. Melee Brawler, ask us that one on entertainment.
Yeah, we'd love to talk about that one.
Yeah. Let's see. Jeez.
Oh, this is one that I completely forgot about that I wanted to discuss at some point. Did we hear about the investigation on the Southern Baptist Convention regarding sexual assault?
Yes.
Yeah, I read the whole article.
Yes.
And it was disturbing.
Yeah.
And it is a trend that tends to happen among certain denominations, I've noticed. Oddly enough, not as bad among evangelical circles, but still happens. Mm-hmm. The idea that the church doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
You know, my opinion is that anytime that happens, and I know people who have, you know, not like raped anyone or something like that, but have been sinned sexually, we'll just put it that way, who were pastors and are not any longer. And I tell them constantly, it's like, well, there are ways to minister, but you're never going to be a preacher again. And for good reason. Because you screwed up. And you're still on earth. God forgives. And he forgets, too. Mm-hmm. But man, no, we don't. And for good reason. It's to protect ourselves. That's why memory exists. So, but no, it's disgusting. It's completely and totally disgusting. And I think that they're a disgrace to the ministry. They're a disgrace to Christians everywhere. And it's another fucking example where I have to point out to people, it's like, I'm not like that. I shouldn't have to do that. But I do. But I have to now. Thanks, jerks.
Yeah, I think, at least in Baptist circles, you know, coming from a family with a Baptist minister, well, two now, more often than not, Baptists are willing to look the other way when it comes to people that they're connected to or people that they like. And I would not be surprised if this is really part of the root of the problem. It's just looking the other direction, refusing to believe that so-and-so could possibly be this kind of a monster. It's not so much that they're quick to forgive, but that they refuse to accept the truth of the matter.
Yeah. I think forgiveness and redemption should absolutely exist. But at the same time, nobody transforms overnight.
Truth.
And even then, we should never forget the fact that we sin, and we should always try to become better. Part of that is going to be avoiding certain situations that might cause you to sin again. All right. We're going to go ahead and bring this to a close. We have a very cool entertainment podcast planned for you guys. Hatman and I will both be reviewing Alita Battle Angel. I will also be reviewing Dragon Ball Super Broly. Saw 2 movies in 2 days this week. And on top of that, we'll be talking about the free DLC released for Resident Evil 2. We'll be talking about the unfortunate swatting of Peter Simeti, the head of Alterna Comics, and, of course, Russ Pitts cucking himself. So we're going to go ahead and bring this to a close. Of course, people go ahead and put your questions into the chat. For the overflow, Brainvox will get them later. He's feeling a little under the weather. But we're going to go ahead and take off and get ready for the next podcast. So stick around. We'll be back in about 15 minutes. But until then, my name is Micah Curtis.
And I'm Alex Baldwin, also known as The Hatman.
We'll see you guys very soon. Deus Volt.
Deus.